Hey guys, welcome to beautiful Bianca Rajpersaud, New York State Senate District 23, Staten Island and Brooklyn. So put your hands together. I know I can't hear you, but I hope you're giving her a round of applause. And I'm sure most of you will be saying, hey, election is done. No, there's a second election coming up. And Bianca will tell you all about that election after I introduce her. So welcome Bianca to Shanaz Musical Sensation. Good night to each and every one of you. And election and your voice is really important right now. Bianca has the same mission as I do. She said your voice and is your vote, and your vote is your voice. So get out there and vote. So Bianca, tell us, welcome, and tell us about this second election that's going to be, I know early voting start on the 13th all the way to the 23rd.
Right.
And tell us about that.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me tonight. I really appreciate it, and thank you to your followers for tuning in tonight. So with redistricting that played out in the state of New York, they pushed our primary for the state Senate and congressional seat to August 23rd. But obviously in New York, we have the chance to vote early. So early voting will take place between August 13th, so this Saturday, until August 21st, and then the primary election date would still hold true to be the 23rd. And the specific seat that I'm running for is the 23rd senatorial district seat, which is the North Shore of Staten Island, and also the East Shore of Staten Island and the southern tier of Brooklyn. So, you know, one thing that we're doing as a campaign is not only educating voters on my candidacy of being the first Afro-Latina West Indian to be running for office on Staten Island, but also the fact that there's an election coming up in a few days. So make sure whatever district that you're living in New York that you get out and vote on August 23rd or during the early voting times.
That's right. I know 55% of the population is mixed race in the Senate district right now, right? So that means it's important for you guys to have a voice. You can elaborate.
Yeah, so it's a very diverse senatorial district. It is an open seat. The sitting senator has retired, so I'm not running against the incumbent. But it's very important for our community to come out in strong numbers and vote. This is an opportunity for us to have a voice in the state legislature. I think for far too long, our community has been shunned out of the process. Our needs have been shunned out, and it's really time for us as a community to come together, unite, and stand up and say enough is enough when it comes to public safety, when it comes to addressing healthcare disparities, even transportation disparities in the community. This is the time to elect someone who's from the community, who knows the issues, who lived the issues at hand, and really has the experience to address that. So just a little background on myself. I have worked in the state legislature for a little over 5 years, and now I work for one of the largest law firms in the state of New York, advocating for nonprofits, small businesses, and minority-owned businesses, so we can get our fair share in the state budget, and also make sure that legislation that's being passed in New York is reflective of our needs. And now, you know, with the pandemic hitting us strong the last few years, and now we're coming out of it and trying to figure out a sense of normalcy. My goal is really to really be a voice and advocate, but also be a leader to take charge in fighting for the issues that affect our community every day.
Well said. You have a lot of endorsements, by the way. Would you like to elaborate and just let us know?
Yeah, so I've been endorsed by over a dozen legislators in the state legislature, so that's including the state assembly and also congressional members as well. So that really speaks volumes, I believe, to the work that I've already done in the community as a district leader for the 63rd Assembly District, and also in my capacity as the president of the North Shore Democratic Club. But also the work that I do on a day-to-day basis to work with our state stakeholders to fight for adequate funding in the budget, and also fighting for legislation, again, to be reflective of what the community needs. And these legislators who have come out and endorsed me know firsthand the work I do behind the scenes, and that's why they believe that I'm the best person for the scene and for the community as well.
You have to be in government to know what's going on and what you need out there, the needs. You've been in government for over 8 years, working in the government. Also, you are the first Guyanese Dominican district leader in the 63rd district. You're the district leader. Congratulations on that. It's not an easy task, and you are out there. So of course people see your face, they see what you're doing. Someone, their name just appear on the ballot. Sometimes you don't know who they are, and over I've seen that happen. I forgot the term that they use, but you are doing the work. You've been in our community. And at what age you got involved in politics?
So it really started during my college career when I attended the university at Albany. That's where I received my bachelor's, and I went on to Kent State University to receive my master's. And really, I had this mindset of being involved and being a fighter for my community, but I wanted to be in the legal space. And I remember interning for Assemblymember Daniel O'Donnell in Manhattan in his Albany office during my time at UAlbany, and he was like, the real change happens by getting involved in the community. That's where you see the work being done, and that's where you can be hands-on. And that's when I had that epiphany moment, in a sense, and got involved in state government, and also came back to Staten Island, started working for the local assembly member and getting involved in the civic associations, community boards, and being more hands-on. And that's what really opened my eyes to, everything happens locally. And that's when I, wanted to get involved in government rather than pursuing a legal career. Well
said. You also secured millions of dollars in state funding for the community and a fighter towards working class. What was your first project, and how did you get funding, and for what project did you fund?
So my biggest initiative when I first started advocating in the state legislature was to build generational wealth, really focusing on our Black and brown communities, and how are we teaching them financial literacy. So what I was able to do, I was able to work with a nonprofit to get state funding to bring free financial literacy education to our public schools. And we actually have it in Queens as well. We have it across the 5 boroughs. We have it in Staten Island, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan, where students are able to see firsthand, what a FICO score is, how to open up a bank account, what's a credit score, right? Basic necessities that you need to be an adult. And that was an initiative that I was able to work on, and was able to secure a little over $500,000 for that, and then grew to investing in our cultural institutions across the 5 boroughs and across the state to really help to educate our youth and get them involved, especially during the pandemic.
Wow. And it's very hard to get our youth, involved when it comes to, it's easy to get them sidetracked, but you have to keep them involved. And you're doing a wonderful job on just being a district leader. You're doing all of that. So imagine what we're expecting of you when you got elected on this coming election. So what is your first mission? What do you have in mind to, on your agenda?
So some of my top priorities are addressing public safety in our community. Coming out of the pandemic, we're seeing an uptick in crime throughout the 5 boroughs in New York City as a whole, and really honing in on the fact that there are not adequate mental health services that are provided to the community.
That was my next question. It's always lead back to mental health. Yes. What are we doing? Because a lot of us can't cope. It's, not everybody could cope with things. You lose your job, you lose your home, you lose your family members. What are we doing? They need counseling. They need to speak to people. They need to get, a lot of things off their chest, because that's where the youngsters are committing the crime. You're not finding crime among middle-aged folks. Right. It's the youngsters on the street that's hurting, endangering our seniors, I would say, because as the crime go up right now, we're looking at the age group, and it's the youngsters who's, endangering our elders. So we need them off the street. We need to get them occupied. Even for our seniors, we need to get them, vocational stuff to keep them entertained.
Right.
So what other projects do you have in mind?
So that ties right into COVID recovery, right? We came out of the pandemic, but there's not a lot of talks of how are we integrating the community back to this sense of normalcy. Right? When we were able to institute online learning, and also now have kids back into schools, we're not talking about providing the mental health resources in the schools now to basically explain to our youth and our adolescents what happened, right? And now how do we integrate them back in public? And also with our senior population, we need to talk about investing in adult daycare centers so they can have a safe
recreational. Exactly. They need recreation as well. Everyone needs a safe space away from home away from home, that you could feel comfortable and get that little space that you need. So guys, share the link, share the love. We'll be back with Bianca in just a minute. Let's go for a music break right now on Shanaz Musical Sensation. Old is gold. Hey, where is DJ Raj? Mr. Rashid Backus, good night to you. Underground Sound is in the house. Someone say underground song, Mr. Alvin Ram Saroop, Mr. Deo Moti, the beautiful girly Prasad. The beautiful Barbara Madre. Where is Mr. Madre? The beautiful Mohini Sogdeo, Bibi Sichuran. Radha from Firish. Beautiful Gayatri Darka. Cool to keep you cool. Old tunes. And I believe Bianca said she's familiar with this kind of music. And it's a beautiful Shanti Singh. Shanti's always working. I'm sure she's watching us from New York. Mr. Ganesh Balak, how you doing? Thank you very much, Shanti. And I will always remember you. We're going to talk about culture in a minute. The beautiful Fiza Rahim. Arnold Samuel, good night, good night. So Bianca is familiar with this kind of music because tell them your background. First generation Guyanese, American, Dominican also, right? So her dad is from Guyana, her mom is from Dominica, and look at her, beautiful, and she is in politics, you know. A woman in politics, what's more aspiring?
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey Sophie, good night to you guys. If you have any questions, I appeal to you. District 6, the 63rd district. Explain, elaborate what district is that and the area.
So this, for my district that I serve as a district leader, it's the 63rd Assembly District, so it's the Mid-Island of Staten Island and also some of the North Shore, which overlaps the Senatorial District, which I'm running for, which is the 23rd. In the 63rd Assembly District, again, I worked with the local assembly member, so was able to, in that capacity, help to recruit voters and enhance voter engagement in the community, because that's very big, right? When we're talking about creating change, it's all about engaging the voters, but also helping to register new voters, including new citizens that are coming into the community, and also those who are moving into the Staten Island area. And that was something that I was very big on as district leader, but also as the president of the North Shore Democratic Club. What is the population like in Staten Island Guyanese? So we have a growing Caribbean population actually on the Staten Island front. We are seeing more Indo-Guyanese moving into Staten Island, specifically the North Shore, and I would say we're about 11% of the district at this point, but it is a growing population. So I encourage those who want to live in the city and also have that suburb feeling, move to Staten Island. It is a welcoming place. I grew up there. My family actually lived in Queens prior to, and then moved to Staten Island where they raised me and my sister. So encourage all to look into it. So guys, if you have families and friends in Staten Island, please share the link and the love. So let them know that they could go out and vote for Bianca Rajpersaud. You know, it's election time all the way to August 23rd. My friend, I would like to shout out Mr. Jabneet also, who is running. He is a very hard-working guy. You know, Mr. Jabneet, you may see his picture all over in Queens. He is also on that ballot, so give him your vote.
election is important. The beautiful Drew Sahadev, good night to you. Love, love, and more love to each and every one of you. We have Sophia, good night to you. Hey, Mr. Kenra, good night. A lot of new songs coming out from your studio I've been seeing. Princess Dan, good night to you. Sophia Juman, how you doing? And Sophia is from the Bronx. If you guys are locked on from Staten Island, let us know. Hey, Arnold Samuel, good night to you from Canada. I know Bianca has to be somewhere right now speaking. And what event is that?
It is in Brooklyn at a Democratic Club meeting, just making sure that we're getting out the vote and reminding voters again that there's an election coming up and the importance of voting, either early or voting on election day on the 23rd.
So guys, she's been in politics for over 8 years. She's working in NYC government for over 8 years, I should say. Go out there and give her your vote. She's been endorsed by dozens of New York State legislations. She's secured millions of dollars for our community funding, community projects for working class families out there. And she is the first Guyanese Dominican district leader for the 63rd district, I should say, assembly leader, right? And she is running. Hold on, I want to put her on screen so you could appeal to them and let them know what's your position that you're going to be on that ballot.
Yeah, so again, I'm running for the New York State Senate seat for the 23rd District, which is the North Shore of Staten Island and also the East Shore and the southern tier of Brooklyn. Really trying to be a new voice and change for the community. Again, coming out of the pandemic, there are a lot of issues that are affecting our community, from public safety, transportation, addressing healthcare disparities, and really looking forward to being a voice and a leader to advocate for resources, but also not be an advocate, but to be a voice to help navigate government and help the community on a day-to-day basis. So if you are from Staten Island, if you are from Coney Island, Brighton Beach, Manhattan Beach, Sheepshead Bay, would love your vote on August 23rd or during the early voting dates. I am first on the ballot, so you can't miss my name. So would love to have your support and vote.
Guys, it's Bianca, and here she is again. Bianca Rajpersaud, New York State Senate District 23, Staten Island and Brooklyn. Go out there and give her your vote. And in the meantime, let's go with, here's a boat cruise for you guys coming up next, August 20th. And I know folks are calling me for this boat cruise, so go out there and vote. I don't want to keep you up because I know you do have an event to be, and I would hate for those people to be waiting for you, as you're always punctual. So guys, let's rock and roll on Shanaz Musical Sensation.
Hello, my name is Bianca Rajpersaud, and I'm running for New York State Senate in the 23rd District seat. I'm a proud daughter of immigrant parents. My dad's from Guyana, my mom from the Dominican Republic, and I'm working to fight for our community to make sure we have representation in Albany to address the issues that are affecting us every day. As someone who has served as the district leader for the 63rd Assembly District and also the president of the North Shore Democratic Club, and has over 8 years of experience working in state government, I know firsthand how to get things done for the community. I look forward to being an advocate and also a legislator for our community. So thank you so much. Remember, the election is August 23rd. Early voting starts August 13th and goes on to the 21st, but make sure you vote. Your voice matters. Thank you.
You're watching Shanaz Musical Sensation on the famous John from Queens YouTube channel. Continue supporting our #1 YouTuber, John from Queens. I'm yours truly, Shanaz Hussein.